Welcome to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk. I am Riley, and this is my co-host, JP.
Yo, yo! Welcome back.
So, the way we do these episodes is we're always going to start with what we like to call an old school topic, which is anything with the comics that's at least 10 years or later, or earlier.
Right.
10 years or earlier, right?
Yeah. I mean, comics move pretty fast, so 10 years is a pretty good line of demarcation to go, hey, anything that's 10 years or older, we're going to classify it as old school.
And that doesn't mean that anything between the 10 years is off the table.
Not at all. Not at all.
There's always exceptions, and maybe something ties into what we're going to talk about.
We make our own rules here, so we're allowed to break them.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then our second thing, usually our middle part of the show, will be covering something that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be shows, movies, basically anything.
We like to show that we're relevant.
Yes.
Yeah.
We like to keep up with the times.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hit something future. So something upcoming, something we're excited for, something we want to make our predictions on. And
yeah, it's fun to speculate, right? And then, years from now, when we're massive celebrities, we can look back and prove how wise we were by showing how much we knew before it even happened.
After movie 4.
Right.
Yes, right. And in between the television series.
Yep. A lot of time between now and then. A couple years at least.
Yes, at least.
Yeah.
But and then it'll be fun too once we get to that point where it was a future topic, and then we can kind of like, once it gets to current, be like, okay, well, this is not at all what we thought it was going to be.
No doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be the most fun part.
Absolutely.
And then
good things.
And then 10 years from now, then we can be like, hey, we'll talk about it again.
Right. Draw from the archives, refresh, rehash, re-enjoy. Just like the best kind of leftovers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for today, our old school topic we're going to be talking about is Captain America and the Winter Soldier, this fancy dancy book.
You bet.
And then for our current days of things, we'll be talking about WandaVision. Yeah. Because I just binge-watched that. Finished binge watching it last night.
Appreciate your commitment to it, by the way.
Well done. I do what I need to get done on the podcast unless that is publishing the podcast.
You can't rush these things.
No.
Greatness takes time.
And then our future thing, I am all over the place tonight.
You're
but
good.
The future thing is going to be about the upcoming MCU slate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot to dive into there. There is a multitude of publicly known projects that are at the very least on the table, if not already in the works by Marvel. So plenty to at the very least touch on. We'll dive into the few that kind of stick out to us in particular. So it's going to be a great episode, Riles.
I know, I'm excited.
Usual. Absolutely, it's going to be fantastic.
So should we just dive right in?
Let's go, Winter Soldier. So why don't you kind of start? You read it most recently. It's been a while since I've read it, but it's still pretty fresh in my mind. Kind of give me your initial thoughts, right?
So I went into the Barnes & Noble, not knowing what I was going to pick up.
Okay.
And
Barnes & Noble's a great place. One of my favorite places.
Yes.
Yep.
And I was looking for like Age of Apocalypse.
Sure.
And couldn't find it. Yeah. So then we settled on that bad boy. And I never read the comic before the movie. Mm. So I have the backwards perspective of that, where I watched the movie first. It's not at all what I thought it was going to be. Like, the movie is very focused on Winter Soldier, which it should be. Mm-hmm. So that's what I love about it, because that's one of...
Makes sense. That's the name, right?
Absolutely.
Winter Soldier.
So,
Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
This book is basically about Captain America and this Russian guy. And he's like the son of another Russian dude that Cap fought alongside of in World War II. But they had very different viewpoints towards the end of the war, and in their battle, obviously.
Right.
And so that Russian son, when his whole aspect throughout this entire book is how can he mess with Captain America. Mm-hmm. It was never like full-on war between the two. It was psychological warfare. It's like, how can I mess with Captain America here and here? And then he uses the Winter Soldier as basically his hammer, pretty much.
Yeah. And it wasn't really even for anything other than, like, personally feeling like he had bested Captain America. right? I mean, he wasn't trying to make Russia better for it. I think it was, maybe at best, you could just say he was trying to show that like he's the embodiment of Russia, and Russia and the United States have had this decades-long competition that started with World War II, that kind of unhealthy partnership that as soon as the war was over, it's like, all right, we're transitioning right into the Cold War, where we're just pointing nukes at each other and seeing who pulls the trigger first. Fortunately, nobody did. That's why we're here and can do the podcast. But it kind of seems like that's his character's role, is just embody that old school Russian ideal of wanting to beat the United States. And of course, Captain America is Captain America.
Yep.
He's the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. So who better to humiliate, to prop up Russia, just from a morale perspective.
I think the thing that, like, I shouldn't say it bothers me.
Yep.
But it's like, this dude never had any direct correlation with Captain America besides, like, his town being destroyed. And his town got destroyed because of the Red Skull, not because of Captain America.
Right.
So to me, that was always weird and a little funky. But, hey, you do you, man. You're whatever. What I learned, actually, a few things in this book, though, too.
Yeah, what did you learn that you didn't know going into it?
Well, it was cool how they dive into the Captain Americas that took his place after he died.
Yeah.
Which I had no idea about, and there were two of them, and they both died in the line of duty, and they weren't like super soldiers like he was. So, I believe.
I think that's right.
And I also learned that he had another like Bucky, but he didn't like go as Bucky. He became like Nomad. Cap gave him that role.
Right.
So that was really interesting to me. I don't know a lot of like Captain America's like close, like weird, obscure relationships. Yeah,
it's not like Spider-Man comes to mind.
Yep.
Where there's been various iterations or reimaginings of, you got your standard Peter Parker, everybody knows that origin story, who he is, but then there's so many other like branches, if you will, of that character, right? That have gained their own popularity, their own following, and it feels like the Captain America comics history that they tried to do that in some respects with Captain America at different times, and it just never took. And so they do what comics do. They kill him off. Like, well, it doesn't work, dead.
And what Captain America in this too is he's not like your Boy Scout like you see in like the movies.
Right.
At this point in time, he's on on a tear.
It's war, man.
Yeah, he's like going after people. He's not afraid to kill people. Like, and I think the opening sequence, he tosses like 3 people off a train.
That'll kill you.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
And like goes after a dude on a helicopter or something. But like, he's talked to about like his reckless abandonment. So, and Agent 13 has way more of a part in this than she did in the movies, which I actually kind of really liked.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering if we won't get down this rabbit hole, but I wonder if she's going to pop up in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. And I wonder if she's going to have a more pronounced role. May just kind of be something light. I don't know.
See, that's the question.
I'd be okay with having more of her. Good character.
That's the question. I like the actress too.
Yes.
But I'm wondering if she will... Is she going to start dating Bucky now, or is she going to start dating Falcon?
Ooh.
There's only one of the two.
I'm going to say Bucky. That's my prediction.
Bucky's also my prediction.
Okay.
Bucky's also my prediction. I bet they save somebody else for Falcon.
There you go.
Like maybe.
I agree.
I don't know.
It's hard to see Falcon settling down. Bucky is a little bit more in need, I would say, emotionally, so it's a little bit easier to see him
all the
latching
trauma.
on. All the trauma, man. Need someone to comfort you from all that trauma.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
But what were...
But yeah, she was a pretty pronounced part in this story. Yep, she played a big role.
And then also, too, because there's also this, like, little side story with, like, Crossbones.
Right.
And, like, I didn't like, right now, in this, just reading this by itself, it's kind of just a weird insert into it, so it'd be curious to read it down the line. But he basically, he goes and finds Red Skull's daughter.
Right.
Which I know she's like prominent in some storylines and stuff, but...
Yeah. So the Crossbones and what's Red Skull's daughter's name? Sin. That becomes a big factor moving towards the eventual death of Captain America. So kind of in the interim, right, Winter Soldier ends, and then the next story begins prior to Civil War. and that's a lot of Crossbones essentially, as it shows in The Winter Soldier, rescues Sin, takes her out of her psychological rehab, and essentially undoes all of the good that has been done to repress all of the nastiness that Red Skull had kind of ingrained in her. So she essentially reverts right back to being this psychotic, murderous, like awful person. Thanks to Crossbones. Great guy, Crossbones.
I didn't know how loyal he was to Red Skull either.
Pretty loyal.
Yeah, because I thought he was just like a hitman.
Honestly, he could have, hitched his wagon to so many other horses. He picked the Skull. Questionable choice.
Oh, it's always questionable.
Maybe he burned too many bridges, did a poor job of networking, and so the Red Skull's all he had left.
So he's
I
like,
don't know
you know
how
what?
That works.
Nazis are cool.
Right.
Is that what he thought?
That may have been where he went. Tough angle to go with. But yeah, it's weird in this story. It becomes more fleshed out and more rewarding the more it builds out. And Crossbones ends up being a pretty significant factor in the whole, not just death of Captain America, but then as Bucky starts to take on the mantle per Cap's request, Crossbones is one of the primary adversaries that Bucky has to deal with.
He's the one who took him out, isn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Do we want to get into... I mean, this is a great story, and it turns into a better story as it goes on. Until they decide to bring Captain America back. Do you know how they decide to bring Captain America back, Riley? They say he got shot with time bullets.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about this. But go ahead.
Time bullets.
I feel like we're going to get into a very...
not actually dead, but trapped in time with time bullets.
So Batman?
For as good as this story is.
So Batman and Darkseid? Is that the kind of similar thing?
It's not as good. It's a tough look. It's a tough look. They do a lot of great retconning here and bringing Bucky back. And I can't imagine, neither you nor I can really appreciate what it must have been like for someone that had been tracking with the Captain America story for a while to have all of a sudden gone, reading the story and, oh my gosh, Bucky's here? He's the Winter Soldier? Like, we just kind of take that for granted because we've seen the movies. Right, you've seen the movies, you've read this comic, and it's just kind of it's a cool twist, but it's not nearly as impactful for someone that was a Cap fan for a while, and then to see that retcon. Nonetheless, still really rewarding, still a really, really great idea. Like, hey, let's bring Bucky back, and let's make him a badass former Russian assassin.
Which is dope.
With an arm.
With a robot arm.
With a freaking robot arm.
Don't forget the robot arm.
Oh, my goodness. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic little twist. So, I love it. I think the Winter Soldier character that comes out of this story is great. And it is obviously shown how sustainable it is because Bucky hasn't gone anywhere. Like, he's been a part of the, we're in the old school where he's introduced, but he has remained a part of the comics continuity for, when was this story published? I gotta look at this here. I'm gonna take a peek.
I think it was 04.
Yeah.
I think it was 2004.
That sounds right.
But I could be wrong.
That sounds right, because pre-Civil War. Let's find out what we got.
Well, my thing is, does he still go by Winter Soldier, even the comics now?
Yeah, that I don't know.
I'm assuming yes.
Finding anything helpful here.
Really which is kind of a bummer. I think they need to give him a new name.
What would you name him? What would you rebrand the Winter Soldier?
Probably the Summer Lover. He's just outside in the heat. He doesn't have to deal with the cold anymore. He just loves everybody. He doesn't have to shoot anyone.
The Summer Lover. That idea may die at the writer's table.
Oh, maybe.
But,
on a serious note,
that's great.
On a serious note, I actually wouldn't mind him taking up like the Nomad mantle.
Right.
Just have him go as Nomad. Maybe not the extravagant blue and yellow cape.
Look at you, 2004. Well done. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
But,
that's why we're here.
Yeah, maybe not like a blue and yellow cape or anything. Maybe like an updated like
something a little more
something that
practical.
Fits Bucky.
Yep. Got to highlight the metal arm.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
It would be kind of cool if he kind of did like, I'm thinking of a gladiator look. You know how some gladiators kind of had I don't even know what the heck to call it, but like half the chest exposed, like bare chest, the other half covered by armor that's clearly useless if half your chest is
Yeah.
exposed, but expose the chest that has the armor,
Yeah.
that has the metal arm. That'd be great.
That would be sweet.
Make him a freaking gladiator.
I mean, even his look right now in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, from what I've seen,
Shoot him with time bullets, send him to Rome, back in the gladiator era, and let him do work. That's how you do time bullets right.
That's true.
That's how you do it
true.
right. Freaking time bullets.
You know what?
I'll never get over that.
You know
That's
what I would
stupid.
love them bringing back, though, for him? Is the mask from Winter Soldier.
You bet.
Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Just that whole mask is sick.
That is like legitimately...
They don't need the war paint,
No.
but just the mask.
And
was so cool.
Let's sit on that for a little bit, all right? Masks. That is actually an effective mask at shielding one's identity. The mask where it's just hey, it covers your eyes.
Yep.
No.
Actually,
that's not doing squat for you.
I think that started my love for like the half mask here.
Mm-hmm.
I think what confirmed that love was the Red Hood costume that he currently wears for the Outlaws. So he's got, instead of the full...
You keep talking about it. I'm going to look it up. I got
Instead of the full red helmet,
yep.
he goes, the Robin mask for the eyes. And then he's got the half Red Hood mask like this.
Okay.
And then he wears an actual hoodie with a vest and everything.
Sure.
That right
this one
there.
Right here.
Is that not sweet?
That's a great look.
Yes.
You bet.
And then...
you can drop the hood whenever it feels impractical.
Because he cut ties with Batman, too, so the symbol is a little bit different on the chest.
Okay.
And then, look at that. Look, that's the best one right here.
Yep.
If you go to the...
Okay.
Because he rocks a crowbar.
Anytime you can incorporate a crowbar...
He's like, you know what? This is what killed me, and now I'm going to use this to kill people.
Mm-hmm. That's really confronting your fears, making lemonade out of lemons.
Yes.
And controlling what you can control.
Absolutely.
Can you control you got killed by a crowbar? No. Now that you're alive,
what
can you use a crowbar?
Yes.
And you just did. That's fantastic.
He realizes how effective it was.
That's a legit crowbar sheath, by the way.
I know. I'm telling you, look.
That has to be custom
It's
made.
one of my favorite, new costumes for people, and he got that after.
You're not going to
that's
find
Rebirth.
that at your local Menards.
No.
I mean, they don't sell crowbar sheaths.
No.
That's terrific.
And that looks like a katana.
Yeah.
Or some.
He's got I'm getting a very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle like Casey Jones vibe from this.
Like Casey Jones had a clone baby with Raphael.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't mind that at all.
No.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
But
good call on your part. So yeah, great mask for Winter Soldier.
Yes. So hopefully they bring that back and
practical, effective, good look.
Because I honestly hope we get that whole soldier vibe from him in this one, and just let him go. Because one of my favorite scenes is that like disc bomb that goes underneath Nick Fury's car and blows up.
Right.
And that's his entrance. That's his entrance. Actually, his entrance is catching Captain America's shield, I believe.
No, you're right.
Oh,
you're right.
That
precedes it. Yep, because he doesn't catch Captain America's shield until he shoots Nick Fury a few minutes later.
That's right.
Yeah, about 10 minutes later.
That's right.
So no, you're on point there. That's a great entry.
I need to trust my instincts.
Great entry. And really well done in the movie, right? Because they don't... I mean, in Captain America, the First Avenger, Bucky falls off the train, which, as we noted earlier, typically kills you. Okay? Bucky, a little bit tougher than the rest, survives. Kudos, Bucky. But they don't really do anything to suggest to your casual viewer that this guy's coming back.
Yeah.
In any way. And so when the Winter Soldier makes that appearance, it's really effective because aside from those of us that had read the comics or knew ahead of time going into it who that was going to be, that was a really cool, really well done, like effective reveal of this character.
Yes.
And you don't know a lot about him, but you see him, that slow motion walk, the whole cool guys don't look at explosions thing.
Absolutely.
Pulling it off very well there. Although he is looking
Mark
at the
Wahlberg is
explosion,
wearing
isn't he?
a hat.
There it is. Great entry.
And one more thing we should touch on. Because the way Bucky dies in the book is totally different than in the movie. Because in the book, instead of a train, it's a plane. But it's like a bomb on the plane, or something like that.
Not that falling off the train isn't like realistic for him to live, but if he's literally stuck to the bomb,
he's stuck to the bomb.
The guy's dead.
Yeah,
his arm didn't just come off; everything came off. So anyway,
but he got off in time. where he just lost his arm, and then he was frozen in water till he was brought back, and they erased his memories and did all the stuff they did.
Oh, and he was a kid.
And it wasn't Hydra.
Like, kid, young man, no, not Hydra, true. But he was also a teen, let's say, right? Whereas in the movie, he and Steve were the same age.
Yep. And Bucky kind of took care of him first.
Correct.
And also...
Yeah, so a lot of inversions there, which, hey, it's fine. It's your own version, your own interpretation.
But another thing, too, is they go into, like, you know, Bucky's like, oh, we want to encourage kids to get into the war.
Right.
But on, like, the darker side of things, he was...
Straight up assassin.
Yes, that's what he was made for.
Straight up slitting throats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Russians are like, yeah, we need an American guy because he's going to blend in perfectly. No one's going to attach him to Russia.
Right.
So, yeah, no.
It in a lot of ways, that makes more sense. That retcon piece in the comic is a lot more... And you understand why they did it, right? Because Captain America and Bucky, you're kind of initially pigeonholed in that these characters were literally introduced back in the 1940s. And for that whole propaganda purpose of positive vibes for kids about the war, a little unsettling, I think, to think of right now. But for them to retcon it and go, no, this guy actually could kill people really well.
Oh, yeah.
While a little bit unsettling, because it's like, yeah, but how old is he? It makes sense in the sense of why is this kid being allowed to hang around with Captain America?
Yeah.
Because Captain America needs to be able to be unleashed as that super soldier, and if he's having to watch out for this kid that's not really capable, that really neuters his ability to do what he's capable of doing. So
absolutely,
it was a good practical change, if a bit weird in the sense that, again, it's like, this is a freaking teenager.
Oh, for sure. But then again, you have Batman who just adopts children all the time and just puts them on the front lines.
Constantly. Mixed results there.
Monster.
Yeah.
But
good monster. We like it.
This is probably a good time to transition to WandaVision.
Let's do. Absolutely. Let's do it. So, flipping WandaVision, you binged it.
Yep.
I got through it first, so I'll take point on this one.
Yeah, go for it.
So 9 episodes altogether, right?
Yes.
First 2 episodes were released initially, and my wife and I, we watched them as they came out. Which, gosh, it's just the worst way to watch it. Worst way to watch it.
When I binge watched it, I was like, I don't think I could have done it because I don't know if I could have stayed. Not that I would have powered through because of Marvel, but it was a slow start.
Yeah, and so what was really fascinating, Riley, is that first 2 episodes come out, they end after we watch them, they end, and I'm going, okay, I've got trust in Marvel, but I don't know what's going on here. And so my enjoyment level is at a pretty modest, on a scale of 1 to 10, we'll call it a 5, where it's like entertaining enough, but I don't know where it's going. And my wife, Lindsay, she was probably closer to like an 8 or a 9 because the show was calling back to old TV shows that she had watched growing up with her mom, so there's that nostalgia value, so she was enjoying it more so. And I think as the show progressed and more of the Marvel, just going to call it, what's the right word, structure got revealed, right? Like, my enjoyment increased, and then when the show concluded, I think Lindsay really appreciated the show for what it was, but she enjoyed it less just because it was such a somber conclusion, right? And I enjoyed it a lot, not because I enjoy sad endings, but that's who Wanda's character is. That's the Scarlet Witch. She's a tragic character. She doesn't get a happy ending.
Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
In the comics. Not once. It's always Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown.
It really is.
100%. That's Wanda. Wanda's Charlie in this situation. And it was I thought, so well done from a character development perspective. From where the show started to where it ended, I thought there was a lot that took place with how they fleshed out the character of Wanda. I thought her costume as the Scarlet Witch,
the new one, is fantastic.
It was incredible.
It is fantastic.
I didn't expect them at all to go that close to the comics.
And even
that was well done.
And even then, it's not like that over-exaggerative comic.
No, not cartoonish.
It's that perfect movie take where it's not like It's
like the original X-Men movies, leather outfits that are cool and practical, but enough of the costume flair, with the little horns, that it was a little attitude there, a little sass.
It was the perfect mixture of comic accurate and comic inspired.
Yes, absolutely. So, costume was terrific. I don't think we're done with the villainous, right? Agatha Harkness.
Which I like.
Yep, agreed. I think there's too much there to just kind of dispose of her, and I think they were pretty clear with the strong hints where Agatha's telling Wanda, "You're going to need me," and Wanda says, "Well, I'll know where to find you." It's like, if that's not a suggestion that she's coming back, I don't know what is. So that was cool, and I don't know how I feel, I guess, about Vision's definitely not done in the MCU.
Oh, no.
Definitely not done. And
he just leaves.
I feel pretty neutral about that.
Yep, I do.
Because, and we can actually talk about this more when we get into the future slate, because we'll mention the Loki show that's coming up. One of the great things about Infinity War and Endgame, not great as in, boy, that's the best, but there was some gravity there. Like, Vision straight up died. Twice.
Yep.
You felt that. That's a tough scene to watch. And so I don't like the time bullets effect, if you will, of, oh, we're just going to bring that character back. But I'm going to hold on to that loosely. I feel neutral. I don't feel strongly against. I don't feel strongly for. But I do feel like the show sacrificed some of the emotional impact by bringing Vision back. Now, I say that, and it was still impactful when Wanda is saying goodbye to her version of the Vision that she created. That was sad, like genuinely sad. But at the same time, we all know that, well, even though Wanda doesn't know, Vision's straight up out there.
Yes.
So good show, good character development. I'll be fascinated to see where it goes from there. But I think just in its own self-contained season, it was better than it should have been.
Yes.
It's Wanda in the Vision.
Yes.
Like, it's the Scarlet Witch in Vision. How does that happen?
Yes.
So there you go. There's my initial thoughts. What about you?
So I'm just going to start off with what I really liked, and I'll go into what I didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
So what I really like, I'll start with Agatha first.
You bet.
I don't really care about her as much, I'm not going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I have one main problem with her, but the fact that, you know, she kind of like, hold on, where was I going with this? Oh, that they didn't kill her.
Okay.
I'm very glad they didn't kill her.
Yep.
Because Marvel tends to just kill off their villains,
Ooh.
and there's some villains that I wish they would have kept around.
That's a great point.
Like, and they kept her around, so that means she's going to have significance later on.
Yep.
And like you kind of said, so I'll be interested to see with that. Right. And that's kind of where my problem comes in, is because, you know, we see a little bit of her origin,
right,
but we don't know how she's been alive that long, and we don't know what her motives are.
A lot of time passed between the 1600s and the 2020s.
Yeah, and we don't, like, why are you power hungry? Like, why are you going into that? Is that your only thing? You're just like, I'm going to rule the world, or you want to be the most strongest witch? Like, I don't...
I mean, what's she been doing this whole time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
She's got game.
And you were just chilling out until, like, Scarlet Witch just happened to be born, and you just happened to see her on the news fight Thanos. Yeah. Like, I don't understand that, I guess.
She's stayed, like, this self-imposed exile or sidelined. Like, she has to have been doing something.
So, yeah, for sure.
Right?
Because
it has to have been.
That's like, we get a little bit of her origin, but I don't know what her motivation and drive is, so that's what bothers me.
Right.
And then, I love that they introduce her kids. Uh-huh. The twins, I think, are going to set up for the Young Avengers, which we could possibly see. That'll be their... Okay. That'll be Marvel's Teen Titans. I can't see that getting like a huge movie line maybe, but a TV show, I can see that working well.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What else?
So you think the kids are coming back?
Yeah. Oh, the kids are definitely coming back. Okay. Because that's the only thing she's focused on right now is getting the kids back.
Mm.
You know?
That's right. I almost forgot about the end credits.
Exactly.
She's hearing the kids.
She heard the kids.
That's wild.
She heard the kids. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, she's going to go after the kids. Right. She's going to meet the new Vision again.
Of course.
At some point.
Yep, they're going to encounter each other.
I hope he goes back to the green. I don't know if the white's cool, but like...
Yeah,
and then,
it's not sustainable. White gets dirty too easily. You got to have some color in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just going to start looking...
You don't want to be dirty.
No.
And you're going to have to take a bath at least 3 times a day.
Yeah, not sustainable.
But the other thing is, too, with that is the guy who rebuilt him. I don't understand... his motivations either. He just wanted a weapon of his own. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
that I agree.
Like he
got a little muddy.
And he just took shots at kids. Can we talk about that for a second? He's like, there's 2 children, no holds bar, shoots bullets.
Really tough
like
look for that fella.
A whole round.
Emptied the clip.
Yeah, and there's no reason why.
No.
He just sees him and is like, bam, let's go. I don't understand. So
really cowardly move.
Yeah.
Right? Really cowardly move. Like, who's the most helpless here? The kids.
Yeah.
Targets immediately.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
And I guess my question for that is, I mean, it does show off, like, Monica's and the kids' powers a little bit. Sure. But what...
Still I didn't know... a good look for that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know what... I didn't know if he was an original character created by the show or if he was a comic book character that they adapted.
Okay.
Because that's something I was curious about, because I was like, he's arrested, he could come back, but as what and as who? Because sometimes Marvel does that. They'll throw in characters you've never heard of and are like, oh yeah, we're going to build out this. Like,
he seems kind of like a throwaway. Like, he seems like the throwaway bad guy, but
well, kind of like that one guy in Ant-Man and the Wasp, where he's just like that weird thief guy, you know, like your gangster guy that's just kind of there in the middle.
Right.
But, yeah, so... I mean, yes, he brought back Vision, but I think the most promise out of that whole show is going to be Monica.
Okay.
Her power set looks really cool, something we've never even come close to seeing on show.
Sure.
With the spectrums of light and stuff.
Sure.
So I'm really excited to explore that. I could care less about her showing up in Captain Marvel.
Yeah, because I think I'm going to... On her power set, it was a lot of teasing.
And by the way, when... Wu said Captain Marvel, she was not amused at that name. So something happened in that time frame with her mom and her and Captain Marvel where she has nothing to do with Captain Marvel. And I'm assuming it's just because...
I think Captain Marvel is easily, thus far, the least likable MCU hero.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm not saying she's terrible. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm just saying that out of all these characters that have been introduced, she's the toughest to get behind. She's the toughest to go, like, I would hang out with that person. She seems like a tough hang.
And this is why. Because that whole portrayal of that movie, she has one emotion the entire time, and that is arrogant ass.
Yep.
That's legit it.
Yep.
She's an arrogant asshole.
Yep.
But
hard to embrace that.
Yes. But back to WandaVision.
Right.
So I'm trying to think of if there's anything else I wanted to touch.
Director Tyler Hayward, that just feels like a toss away. No offense to anybody named Tyler, but it just seems like an easy one to just kind of dismiss and say, yep, there was that guy, he's no longer a factor.
So I'm trying to think.
Although kudos to him, like, they did get the Vision back up and running.
Yes, but
that's
with Wanda's
feat.
powers.
True.
Yes.
True. Yeah. But to get it that close, that takes some doing.
But what I also liked, they come out and straight up say she's stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. So we know going into Doctor Strange 2, because she's going to be a huge player in that movie, she's going to be the powerhouse out of the two, which is insane. And by the way, he's supposed to be getting his own comic accurate suit, which is going to be sick. But we'll get back to that later.
Okay. Yep. Well, future slate talk. That'll be good.
So, so she's going to, like, her power set is... from the show is just shown really well because we don't go into that hard of a depth with her, and her powers have always been here.
Yeah,
which is what her backstory in this is fantastic. That's why I love the last 2 episodes. The second to last episode,
that was a great episode.
It's all about her. You see her interact with the Mind Stone, which kind of unlocks everything in there.
Yeah,
But
how about the fact that she had abilities before the Mind Stone?
I think that's huge. I think that's huge because they probably won't do it, but you can easily make her a mutant again, and it will make sense. It'll make sense. Although we have no idea what Quicksilver's side of the backstory is, but still, that's huge. And Quicksilver could very much well come back in Doctor Strange 2.
Certainly.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty fascinating to see. It sure seemed, they teased it so hard with Evan Peters showing up as Pietro, as Quicksilver. They teased the heck out of bringing mutants in, and then they just never opened that door any more than that little crack.
Absolutely.
That was it. And so I'm really curious to see how they're going to bring mutants into the MCU. It'd be fascinating if they inverted the House of M storyline where Wanda goes, no more mutants. If she instead, I don't know why she would be inspired to do this, but she just says all kinds of mutants, right? Or there are so many mutants, and all of a sudden she just like gifts hundreds or thousands of people with these abilities. Maybe that's asking for too much. Maybe that's a terrible idea. Who's to say?
Honestly, with her it could be, but like I think it'll be, well, two things. One, I think it'll be like some immersion of the multiverses coming together, where it kind of like the 616 and the Ultimate Universe kind of like mesh together a little bit, not a lot.
Yeah.
Where they brought Miles.
There.
Yep, they brought Miles into the original, like the mainstream, which I love. Don't get me wrong, I love that. Okay. But and also, I think one big thing I really want is Mephisto. I think this just sets up perfectly for Mephisto to come in, which, in case you're wondering, that's Marvel's Satan. He's not a good guy. He makes
standard, right?
He makes
standard. He's a bad dude.
Yes, he makes deals that benefit him in the future, who for benefiting other people. It's the monkey's paw in a way.
There you are.
So, for him, and that could be very much. I think that's exactly how we'll get Quicksilver back. If we get Quicksilver back in any way, I think it would be through Mephisto.
I think Wanda's going to make a deal with Mephisto.
I think Wanda could easily make it. Okay. She's that kind of character that
tragic enough, broken enough, desperate enough.
And and that's another thing. I love her progression. It goes through the guilt.
Yep.
She admits that she didn't mean to do this, which at first you're like, oh, she totally meant to do this, because that director guy was just like, she totally did this. And
that was quite a revelation that it was a genuinely unintentional thing. But
which
it's just this outpouring of guilt and the memories. Yeah.
Which that town will never forgive her for, but in the same sense, it's like,
just fair. You
have all that power and you can't control that. You come on, you gotta give her a little slack. But I think at the end it just builds on so much potential, because she's got that big old magic book that we don't know what it does, and I'm sure it's in the Marvel comics, and I have no idea what it is. But
what do they call it? The Dark Book?
Something like that.
It was something pretty basic.
But she's searching, she's power reading like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So, and she was in two places at once. So, Scarlet Witch has a lot of potential. Yep. So, and I like that. And Vision...
Elizabeth Olsen's great.
Yes.
She's fantastic. Like, couldn't have seen this coming when her character was introduced in Age of Ultron. Not just all the things they were going to do with the character of Wanda in particular, but Elizabeth Olsen, I haven't seen her in anything else, but... for what I have seen her in, strictly Marvel speaking, crushing it. Just crushing it.
I love how she went back and forth from like an American accent to her foreign accent.
Right. And shout out to Paul Bettany. Like, he had to wear a lot of hats.
I know.
A lot of hats. That was impressive. And just reading some interviews with him, he's genuinely excited that the Vision is alive, Riles. Like, he's all about those time bullets. He's like, let's go. You got me with the time bullets. I'm in. I'm here. And I want to be in the MCU for a while. So, kudos.
In case anybody's wondering, this episode will be called Time Bullets. It's non-negotiable at this point.
Yeah. Put it in stone. But I was impressed with him. Like, he had to show, I'm no thespian, but he had to show some range.
Oh, for sure.
Right? And he did a heck of a job. But it's cool also to see an actor, where I think there's a genuine weariness that takes place sometimes with, I'm thinking of Chris Evans, who's, I'm sure, very happy to now hang up the shield and just move on from the Captain America mantle. So nothing against Chris Evans, but it's encouraging for me as the fan to see a guy like Paul Bettany that's been around the character for a while, since Age of Ultron, to say, hey, I'm raising my hand. I'm in. Let's keep doing this. I'm not hopping off the Marvel train anytime soon. So
him and Chris Hemsworth.
That's great. There you go, right?
He's like, I'll keep playing Thor till they tell me not to.
Yeah, that's cool. So
old King Thor.
Let's go. Break out that destroyer arm.
Yes. But,
yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else, because I felt like I had one more thing. And I'm just not...
No, that's a good recap on your part of what you liked, what you didn't like. I feel like it's been a more divisive show than it perhaps needed to be.
Yes.
Like, I think it's objectively good. You don't have to watch it and go, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen or encountered.
It's definitely not a rewatcher for me.
Not for you?
Not for me.
I would rewatch it again.
I could go without. If I'm gonna go rewatch it, honestly, it would be for the last 2 episodes.
Okay.
I'd go rewatch the last 2 episodes. I think I'd skip the first 2 episodes, for sure. I think I'd start at the 3rd episode.
I want to watch I want to watch the whole thing again, so I would rewatch it. But I want to see the first 2 episodes to see like what teases I missed, like what hints for what was to come. But I get where you're coming from too. Little fun fact for you. So, Paul Bettany, married to Jennifer Connelly, okay, and Jennifer Connelly also in the MCU, unexpectedly
voices Friday, right?
Voices Karen, the suit lady,
Karen,
in Spider-Man: Homecoming. So it doesn't voice Friday, but close association, right? Little Star Trek there.
I knew it was something.
Yep. So good on them.
That's what I want to say. Because in that flashback, when you see the Stark Industry bombs, I was so sad. I was like, oh, it was Tony. And I was like, this was probably before he was trapped. No, maybe not. I wonder if that was pre-bunker or post-bunker.
Maybe pre-bunker.
It could have been pre-bunker.
Yeah, because what would we guesstimate? She and Pietro
She's got to be in her 20s.
Right.
They got to be early 20s.
But when the bomb hits their,
they're probably 8.
apartment, right. And then by the time they're introduced in Age of Ultron, 20s?
Got to be.
So about 12 years have passed. That's pre-Iron Man.
Which I'm like...
Yep. Still sad. Still not a good look for Tony.
And then they sat there and looked at it for 2 days. How did she not hate him?
Yeah. Like... Understandable why she was initially not a fan of the Avengers.
Oh,
Makes
for
sense.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Doesn't it make you wonder, like, they never got into... So, and I know we're going a little bit over time
No,
here.
you're good.
So they explained, okay, Wanda had abilities pre-Infinity Stone exposure.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Pietro?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We don't...
Right?
That's what I'm saying, like... We don't know what his side of it was.
They're the only 2 that survived all those experiments. Everybody else is dying. I gotta believe that he had some latent, or maybe not even latent's too strong, or he had some abilities that we hadn't had an opportunity to see that again just get amplified by the Infinity Stone.
Mutants.
Straight up.
Gotta be.
Straight up.
It's gotta be.
I have to say, listen, the X-Men movies, they are all over the place. I like most of them. Some of them I strongly don't like, but most of them I really like. I would love to see Michael Fassbender continue to carry the torch as Magneto. What a great Magneto. What a great...
I like the original Magneto too.
Absolutely.
I think they did good on both ends.
Ian McKellen was terrific. I think he's, no shade, too old to come back from that. Time just does that to you. So, if it was 20 years ago when he first took on that mantle, you bet. Let's see him do it again. But I have loved Michael Fassbender's portrayal, and I'd love to see more of it.
See, and
I don't know if we're going to get that. Probably not. But
I would love to see him as a Doctor Doom too. But then again, I think that's because he's such a good actor.
Yeah,
he could honestly do it. I think they'll pick somebody different for Doom, and that's great.
Yeah.
But I hope they do hit him up and be like, all right, how do you feel about going up against like Tom Holland and Benedict Cumberbatch? Does that sound like something you might want to do?
That's a good segue, I think, into the future slate, because something that, we'll get into what Marvel's announced for the future, but what they have not yet announced for the future at all are any tangible, for all the teases we got in WandaVision, no tangible mutant-related shows or movies have been announced yet, which, listen, fair enough, like, they do need to take their time and do it right, but man, those characters are there are so many worthwhile characters to explore that I'm just anxious for it, right? Like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, well documented, objectively awesome. Michael Fassbender was fantastic. And there are other portrayals that now I'm just blanking on drawing the associations with. Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique was solid. Like, they went a very different way with the character.
Not when I could be recasted and be okay.
Okay, fair enough. I liked it. I thought it was worthwhile. I especially liked how they tied her in as an initial ally of Xavier.
Yes. Right?
A friend. That was unexpected. I liked that.
For the next X-Men, what I would really,
let's see what you got.
really,
Dreamcast.
really love.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I don't know about Dreamcast. Okay, but I will tell you this: I want a better I want a better Nightcrawler. I want an actual really good Nightcrawler because they put him in X-Men 2, and they're like, nah, we don't need him in the third one.
He was great in X-Men 2.
Yeah, and I didn't mind him in X-Men 2.
Would you say, is that what you want to see in Nightcrawler? Or what you saw in X-Men 2, do you want something different than that?
In some way. I just want more, like, comic Nightcrawler, because I love Nightcrawler.
Yes.
Like, you don't need to go for the elaborate, like, black and red with the ginormous shoulder pads. Let's not do that, but, like, why not? And then, I would love Gambit, and you can call the guy who played Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine to have him do it, except make sure he has a Cajun accent. The Cajun accent's a must.
Agreed.
But we need like a good Gambit.
Isn't that Taylor? What was the guy?
And I would like a really good Rogue, and I mean like Southern Belle Rogue.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And like,
were you a fan of the original portrayal of Rogue?
It was okay. Like, she didn't want her powers, but she like I would have loved it if she would just learn to embrace it and like control it.
Sure.
But that thing is too, like, you have Captain Marvel already established. Yep. You can easily have her and Rogue clash, and she gets her power set, and it makes sense. You know?
Sure.
I'm trying to think if there's any other X-Men. Like, I love that Deadpool 2 did Juggernaut, because Juggernaut's one of my favorite X-Men villains.
Yep.
And honestly,
a lot of great villains in the X-Men.
Oh, for sure.
There are so many fantastic villains.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
If there's any other X-Men that just needs justice. And I can't think of any other.
If I got the Nightcrawler from X-Men 2, I'd be pleased.
Yes.
More of it.
Yes.
It sucked, and it was one of multiple examples in those movies of where the producers and developers of those movies effed up, which is, hey, we've got this awesome character that we introduced in X-Men 2. He has some fantastic scenes. The character portrayal is solid. We got a lot we could develop there. Hard pass. We're good. One movie was enough. Excuse me? That in and of itself is enough to have X-Men taken away from you. Like, if you're making those movies and you make that mistake, you mess that up, you're done.
And can we not can we also not like kill Cyclops off? Can we like keep him around? You know what I mean?
X-Men 3 is so bad.
And then have Emma
have
Emma Frost in there too, like, cause she's cool, like, and then get that whole like love triangle thing going.
She was in there in first class.
Yeah, in first class, and she was all right in first class.
Yeah,
but like,
So like I said, I'm anxious to see him. I'm okay with Marvel taking their time because if they can avoid the obvious pitfalls, I mean, that X-Men should be a layup. X-Men as characters with the storylines that are available to you, that is the equivalent of a freaking layup in basketball. Make your layups.
And I think, I'm not going to get all political on here, but if they want to take advantage of the political landscape, X-Men's the perfect time to drop now.
Yeah, pretty timeless opportunities in those characters. Whatever touchstones you want to settle in on and just kind of hit that nerve, it's right there for you.
Go in and make your money.
Yeah. Okay, so we established X-Men aren't happening.
Yes, for now.
Shame.
So let's you want to just go straight down the list?
Yeah.
We'll just start from the top.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to rapid fire through this list because there's a lot, and then we'll come back onto the topics or shows, movies.
How do you want to rapid fire?
I'm just going to rapid fire through this. Yep. Well, I'm going to rapid fire through all the titles.
All of them?
Just because the sheer volume is overwhelming, so it'll give us the good feel for it. And we're going to go kind of date range here. So we're starting chronologically with what's coming out this year yet. All right, multitude of projects coming out this year. So here's what's coming out in 2021. Loki on Disney Plus. Black Widow, the movie, now in July is the release date.
And also on Disney Plus.
There you go. Correct. Good call. What If? Don't know what the frick that is.
Oh, I do. We can get into that.
Okay, we'll get into that. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Eternals, Spider-Man 3, Ms. Marvel, Disney Plus show, Hawkeye, Disney Plus show. That's your 2021 slate. That is a lot just in 2021. So,
and thank the Lord, we're back into it.
Let's go. All right, 2022. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor, Love and Thunder, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special on Disney Plus. Holiday Special, you can expect that to be the tail end of 2022. So that's 2022,
and
a
let's
lot.
Hope it's not like the Star Wars one.
Oof. All right. 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, the rest of these projects have date TBD listed, so I suppose what that could indicate is that, in theory, any of these could still have the plug pulled, right? A lot of time between now and TBD, but nonetheless...
I think they've all been confirmed. It's just...
They've been confirmed. I'm just saying that could change, but nonetheless, here's what we're being told is happening. Let's see. Disney Plus, She-Hulk. Sorry, She-Hulk on Disney Plus. Secret Invasion, Nick Fury series on Disney Plus. Did I skip over Moon Knight?
You did.
Thanks for bringing me back there. Apologies. Moon Knight.
That's a big
Disney
one
Plus.
for me.
That's a big oops on my part. Blade. Let's go. Deadpool 3. Fantastic Four. Then I Am Groot on Disney Plus. Armor Wars on Disney Plus. Ironheart on Disney Plus. A Wakanda series on Disney Plus. A Crying Baby in That Room. And Echo on Disney Plus. That's a lot, Riles. That's a ton of content. A ton. And even if we were just like worst case scenario, all that TBD stuff gets wiped out. Look at all this stuff coming out.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be solid for a few years.
Are you kidding?
It's going to be great.
That's unreal. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 Disney Plus shows this year. And what is that?
So
1, 2,
much
3,
content to
4
cover.
Movies. We're going to be making these podcasts for a while.
And
at least
this
year.
is going to keep us in business.
At least this year. So hopefully you enjoy it, because otherwise, I guess you don't have to listen, but why wouldn't you?
Well, we'll just cry ourselves to sleep. It's not that big of a deal.
No, it's on you, really.
So.
All right, so tell me what sticks out to you. Let's kind of go year by year. So 2021, what are you most excited for this year?
So there's 2
Let's hear it.
out of here. Actually, 3. 3 out of... Oh,
That's fine. Pick all 6 if you must.
Yeah, I will.
Go
so,
for it.
Loki will be interesting because we have no idea what they're going to do with that. It looks
Owen
like
Wilson is in it.
Owen Wilson is in it.
Owen
that is the
Wilson.
biggest information you need to take away from it, and you need to watch it because it's Owen Wilson.
It's fantastic.
Wow. But anyways,
well done. Well done.
I heard some concept of like it's Loki going back in time and like influencing like historical figures. I don't know if that's going to happen necessarily.
Do you think they're going to bring him back? Like, is this time bullets? Are they bringing him back into the fold? Like Loki at the end of this, he's back.
Well, to do with your time bullets, I think he gets caught by the time police because he's out of place and things go wrong. So I don't know exactly how it goes.
I'm talking like at conclusion. Do you think that Loki at the end of this show, Loki is a relevant part of the MCU moving forward, or they tie him off and say, "Well done, Tom Holland."
Or Tom Hiddleston.
Did I say Tom Holland?
Yes, you did, but that's okay.
Tom Hiddleston, thank you for the correction. Well done, go off and be the next James Bond.
I don't think that. I think they'll bring it back because basically you're getting a free, like, soft reboot with Loki. Because you get Loki back without all the character progression, so you're getting the trickster god back in what he was before the end of Thor 3, before into Infinity War, where he just gets choked to death, sacrificed himself for Asgard. So I think that's what. So here's the What If series. Yeah. Okay.
And you're excited for this. I know nothing about it, so I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
The What If Marvel comics, right? Where they would be one shot and like, for instance, it would be like, what if Spider-Man became the Punisher? So it'd be Spider-Man as the Punisher, so he's both. He's like a mixture of both.
Okay.
So this is going to be on the lines of that.
Yeah.
It's all animated.
Yep.
Well, the best part is all the MCU actors are coming back to voice their characters.
Really?
So a few of the concept episodes, okay?
Okay. I'm intrigued.
The first episode is what if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum? So it's her as Captain Britain. It's going to probably follow that what if story where Howard Stark builds a suit for Steve, and he uses like an Iron Man suit, so he's kind of like the first Iron Man.
Nice.
There's another episode and it was like, what if the Ravagers picked up T'Challa instead of Chris Pratt?
Peter Quill.
Yeah, right? Peter Quill.
That's great.
Another episode is something to do with zombies because it shows Captain America as a zombie and it shows him against Winter Soldier.
Is Winter Soldier a zombie at this time? As far as we know?
No,
they're both zombies?
It shows Winter Soldier as Winter Soldier.
Yes.
And then it shows Captain America as a zombie. Okay. So I have no idea how that works.
Sure.
And that will be the last performance we will see of Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther. Will be in the What If series because he already voiced his parts.
Work. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
fascinating.
That'll be the What If series.
That's cool. I'm all about that. Like we touched on last week with Kingdom Come, kind of that idea of a standalone alternate universe, the freedom that comes with that for an artist or an author to say, hey, here's what's known about these characters, but let's make some significant changes, keep some of the core principles, but play with some of the boundaries there. There can be some fun ideas that come from that. Doesn't always work, right? Sometimes they flop, but I think that's a concept worth exploring. So, good deal.
Another one, Shang-Chi. I'm only going to touch on this one because I'm praying, and I think it's going to happen, we get an actual Mandarin adaptation and not a fake Mandarin adaptation.
Because try and retcon that at all in the movies?
Well, so there was like I don't know if you saw like the one-shot clip or whatever.
I don't think I've ever actually watched it, but I feel like I've heard it discussed enough to have a solid enough idea of what it is.
So it was a guy who was pretend Mandarin, and he was in prison, and basically gets confronted by some other prisoners, and he's like, yeah, so the real Mandarin knows that you're dead, and he's not very happy about it. Mm-hmm. So the real Mandarin's out there, and I just wish he would have just been the actual Mandarin, but that's for another day.
Yeah. Didn't enjoy that about Iron Man 3 at all.
No.
Didn't enjoy that. Real letdown. So, good opportunity for them to bring the genuine Mandarin into the fold.
And the last one I'll touch on is Spider-Man, because I just have to touch on Spider-Man.
Yep.
Who knows what we're going to get out of that? We really don't know. There's rumors that Ned will go down the path of Hobgoblin at the end of this one.
Oof. Tough turn for Ned. I hate to see that. I've enjoyed him as the lovable sidekick. So he's good buddy, good friend.
So he'll be like the Harry Osborn of the original Spider-Man trilogy.
Oh, man, I would hate that. I would not be okay with that. I'd be bummed. I would be bummed.
If it's like legit, like it sounds like he's just gonna lose his mind. That's rumors though. Don't take me for like seriously on that because like I said,
don't like it.
There's rumors that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are coming back.
That would be fantastic. That would be hilarious.
I will cry.
That would be hilarious.
I will legitimately cry tears, and it will be of joy.
I was going to ask. Okay. Joyful tears. Those are the best.
Oh, my God. If I see Old Man Spidey and it's Tobey Maguire, how can I not cry?
Can I just highlight, because any opportunity that I do have to highlight, Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire, Doc Ock. That is still one of the best superhero movies that has been made. Easy for it to be shuffled off to the side, but that movie, standalone, fantastic.
And they really
phenomenal stuff.
And like the fact that they built up that mentorship relationship with him and Otto, and then watching that turn of Otto, which is why that Ned one might be really hit home because it's like you watched him be best friends with him. Now they're gonna have that emotional tie.
That's probably why I'd be so upset because I like my guy Ned.
Because
he's been a great friend.
Because there's no sign of it. There's no sign of him going off the deep end.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what would cause him to do that. Yeah. But I always kind of had that feeling they might turn him into a Hobgoblin.
Really?
Well, that's because that's his character in the comics.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he was the first Hobgoblin. There's like 7 Hobgoblins.
A lot of them, right.
And honestly, I would love a different goblin. You got to have one, and the Hobgoblin hasn't been done.
Sure.
And it's not like we're going to get our 5th Green Goblin, so it's fine.
Willem Dafoe is still carrying that torch, man.
Yeah.
Freaking Willem Dafoe.
Exactly.
Terrible costume, but great.
It was good for what it was.
Good at
but
the time.
I would prefer a comic more accurate.
Yeah.
I need the purple.
The mouth moving underneath the mask that wasn't moving was tough.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You done in 2021? Or you got more you want to highlight?
No, I think that's it. Just I'm looking forward to Spider-Man 3. I'm interested to see what that would bring us. I think honestly it will end on a bad note anyways because it's called No Way Home. So I think something's going to go bad in some sort of way.
Okay.
I don't know in what aspect. It might be with Ned. It might be in some other aspect. Yeah. But I think, because
Spider-Man's that perpetually tragic character, right? Where things never actually get great for him.
Yes.
They're good enough.
It's the old Parker luck.
Right. He perseveres. They've really not gone down that route so far.
Yes.
They've kept things fairly light, fairly in his favor. He's had Tony Stark on his side. He's got the Stark mantle at this point, the access to all that technology. So really the conclusions at the end of each movie have been largely solid. The unmasking at the hands of, I've got Mephisto in my head, that's not right at all.
Nope.
Right?
Mysterio.
Mephisto, Magneto, Mysterio, all these
And O's.
Mysterio, yeah. Good villain, by the way.
Yes.
Well done in that movie.
Good job, Jake.
Yeah, well done, Mr. G. It's been a pretty positive character, really lighthearted, and that could be quite the twist if they go down the path of, this is going to be tough.
And why I think it's going to be tough, too, is because you got to remember, Doctor Strange is going to be in that one. He's going to be taking on the Tony Stark role in this.
Okay.
And we have a weird trilogy where it's WandaVision, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. That's been confirmed. We don't know the path they're going to go on, but, I mean, come on. Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and Spider-Man, you're not telling me that's a weird trio to keep together and like have fun with?
Very weird.
So, because those stills are them saying they're in the Sanctum Sanctorum. So it'll be very interesting to see, and that's why I think Spider-Man will end on like a crazy sad cliffhanger.
Sure. Because
it'll kick right in Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Because he'll be fixing his problem, Scarlet Witch will be fixing her problem by getting her kids back, and then Doctor Strange will be doing whatever the whole main storyline is.
And Spider-Man 3 comes out December 17th of this year. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness booked currently for March 25th.
Which he will be taking
almost a year from today.
And he'll be taking on Nightmare in that,
Nice.
which I have no idea really much about that.
He's in one of my son's comic books, but who knows?
Well, why don't you get 2022?
Yeah.
I'll give you 2022. I
That's
really
great.
took over in 2021.
No, you're good. Real quick, Loki, I'm down for that just for Owen Wilson. Love that.
Well, duh.
Owen Wilson, my guy.
If he shows up as Lightning McQueen in this, I'll lose it.
That's great. That's great. I'll take Owen Wilson.
Or just says ka-chow.
Morning, noon, and night.
One time.
Stud. Black Widow, I'm just curious to see it at this point. Like, Scarlett Johansson did a great job with that character. So I'm just kind of curious, particularly because of the time in which it's set. Like, it's supposed to be set between the end of Civil War and Infinity War. So I'd like to see what they were up to.
I want a good Taskmaster.
There you go. So I'm excited for those two. The rest of them, I'm not going to say I'm like excited for exceptionally. I'm going to see them, okay? Mm-hmm. Except for what I am excited for, Hawkeye. I'm excited for that show. Love Jeremy Renner.
Yep.
Enjoy the character of Hawkeye. So
and we're getting Kate Bishop.
Right. I'll watch a show about Hawkeye dishing arrows left and right. So there you go. There's my little poke.
And one more touch. I think Eternals, and this is all I'm going to say about the Eternals because I don't know anything about them, that probably has the chance of being that phase's Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm just going to leave it at that because I have no idea what it's about, and that could just take off like Guardians did.
Yeah. Again, this is nuts that you have. I'm just going to bring it back to the X-Men. You have the freaking X-Men at your disposal, but Marvel has done such a great job at world building that they're breaking out Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
We wouldn't have gotten that without this.
What? Eternals? What?
Yeah.
They're just printing money, doing what they want to do, and we're the beneficiaries. So
absolutely
fantastic. All right, 2022, Thor: Love and Thunder. Bar none, what I'm excited for the most. Bar none. Because they are embracing the storyline that has Gore the freaking God Butcher, and my boy Christian Bale is coming into that role. Now, here's the deal. No slight on Christian Bale, but in these movies, sometimes actors get overwhelmed by the makeup and the costume. They kind of get lost, right? You don't really see the actor, you just see the character, which is the point. So I'm not saying that because it's Christian Bale, that character is going to be great, but Gore the God Butcher in that comic run with Thor, phenomenal bad guy. So tough. So tough. Pushes Thor to the brink. In that comic, as you know, Riles, Gore does work on 3 different Thors. You've got young Thor, you've got current Thor, and you've got old King Thor, and it takes all 3 of those Thors to just barely beat Gore the God Butcher. Just barely. Like, he's that tough. That is ridiculous. So, I am stoked for that movie.
And don't forget about the Necro Sword.
Right.
And that has so much lore in itself that opens up other stuff.
100%. Also, I had a chance, so I got so excited when I read that comic with Gore the God Butcher. I kept on going down that line with Jason Aaron. That's the author of that particular run.
He had a great run, by the way.
Great run. And so I got into the portion where Thor loses the ability to hoist Mjolnir, Jane Foster comes into that role as Thor. And I enjoyed that a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
A lot more. The storytelling was great. It made it a very natural transition into that. It did not feel like a...
Forced?
Yeah, it didn't feel forced at all. Felt like a very organic part of both Thor, Odin's son, that character, and then Jane Foster. I still haven't gotten far enough down that comic path to really know, okay, exactly why all that has happened, but seeing her wield the hammer, take on that power of Thor, pretty entertaining. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in the movie as well.
And Natalie Portman will do a great job.
Yep.
And never forget, Chris Hemsworth is not losing the hammer. He will still be Thor. People are freaking out that he's going to lose the hammer. He's going to be done being... He's not going to be done being Thor. In fact, honestly, with Jane, I could honestly see them going the route where she becomes a Valkyrie. Because that's what happens later on. Right now, she's a Valkyrie.
Okay.
So, we'll see.
Yeah. So that's far and away what I'm most excited for. Also very intrigued. I think at the second place, there's a gap between first and second for me. But Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. With what happened in WandaVision, knowing that is going to lead into, as you already said, Spider-Man 3 and then Doctor Strange. Very curious to see where that goes. Right now, because I want to see what happens with the character of Scarlet Witch. Doctor Strange is a great character as well in the MCU, so there'll be some good things, I'm sure, coming with his character in there. Spider-Man's been done really well by the MCU so far, so a lot of good reasons for that one.
There's just so much potential with it. They could honestly go out and do what DC did and be like, okay, here's our different universes, and then now they can just throw out whatever show they want. It makes sense.
100%. So Black Panther 2, it's just, it's sad that Chadwick Boseman passed away. Yeah. It sucks. Most importantly for him and his family, what a crummy thing. So you got to be grateful that you're still breathing. If you're alive and you've got people that are in your life that you love and that love you, can't take that for granted.
It will definitely be a love letter to Chadwick in this one. And, we were going to get Shuri eventually as Black Panther. There's no doubt in my mind. We're going to get it a little earlier than we wanted, but I think she's going to do very well. I like the girl who plays her. Yeah. So
I'm glad they're not recasting T'Challa. I think that's
the Lord.
That's the right move. Just
have Namor be the one to knock him out.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Let it.
Somebody on that level. Namor or Doom.
Yep.
Somebody. You can establish somebody's presence like that as a villain right off the bat if they kill off. I mean, it wasn't really by choice necessarily, but in the story, It'd
be interesting to see how they handle that. If it'll be an adversary that took T'Challa out, or if they go a very different route.
I'm not going to lie to you. If they show her in the spirit world talking to him, I'm probably going to cry.
How could you not?
How could you not? That is, you have to, almost. Yeah. I would cry.
Pretty unreal. Just have to settle in on that Chadwick Boseman piece. Unreal that he did not make it public. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Not crazy in a bad way, but crazy toughness.
Yeah.
Crazy humility to not... He would have been very justified to have made it public and to have taken on the attention that would have come with that. The fact that he chose to keep that private tells me, among other things, that he didn't want to make it about him.
And he didn't want that to define the end of his career.
Yeah.
He's so like, A
lot of respect for that guy. So that's what I'm most excited for in 2022. Ant-Man, I still can't believe there was a first Ant-Man movie made. I still can't believe it. But I love Paul Rudd, so...
Paul Rudd's amazing.
He's great. He's great.
I will see it. I was going to touch on that movie before we jump to the rest of it.
Hit it.
We're getting Kang the Conqueror in that.
Ooh.
Did you hear about that at all?
Yes.
So...
Yes.
And I think he'll kind of be like Loki in the sense where he'll be the villain, they'll keep him around, and then he's going to fight the Avengers.
Yep.
So that's something to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited about that, out of most of it.
Yeah. I am not excited, but curious with Captain Marvel 2. I think there is a lot of room, a lot of opportunity to make that character more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'm
hoping Monica's in there. I really liked her.
Yeah.
I really liked Photon.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what they're going to go by first.
I think there's hope because I think about how much Thor has become more enjoyable in the first Thor movie.
Yes.
He was very...
but Chris Hemsworth is an enjoyable man.
Absolutely. But they let him be enjoyable as the movies progressed along. The first one, it's like, hey, bro, so be this guy that wields the hammer and keep it as tame as you possibly can. So the more they've kind of taken the reins off him, the better off that character has been. So there's opportunity. I'm cautiously optimistic that the same people that have done that with the character of Thor can do that with Captain Marvel. Because that should be an enjoyable character. That should be a character that we can get on board with.
Or not. I don't like her in the comics either.
Yeah.
I don't like Maria Hill either in the comics, but
Maria Hill's not very likable.
I don't like Maria.
Pretty consistently unlikable.
Ugh. Yes.
All right, let's move past 2022. All right.
So we're gonna do our
take 2023 and the TBD. What sticks out to you there? What are you excited for?
Well, Deadpool 3 is gonna be way too obvious for me because Ryan Reynolds and I can't wait to see if they give him full range. Mm-hmm. Expect anything. He's gonna get the whole Marvel toy box. He's gonna get the whole Marvel toy box.
Do you think those give him the characters that they want to kill? They're like, hey, you kill these characters in this movie.
You know how funny?
Like, kill them off for us.
You know how funny it'd be? Like, hey, here's Batroc the Leaper. You remember him? Bam, dead. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Another one that I'm excited for, Moon Knight, played by Oscar Isaac. He's been confirmed. They kind of went with an older actor. I kind of wish they would have been a little younger, but
I know nothing about the character of Moon Knight.
I don't know enough.
There's a lot of people. That's not the right way. There's a niche that love Moon Knight, and that's great. So it gives me some excitement for that. But I don't have any personal investment going. The name is cool, like Moon Knight. Okay, the costume is cool.
Yes.
So good design, good name. That's all I got.
Well, Oscar Isaac. I think why they went with him, too, is because he's just a well-known, established actor, and the fact that he has to play a multi-personality, schizophrenic superhero. Like, he changes his identity based on the superhero that suits that situation. So he has a Wolverine-esque personality, he has a Spider-Man-esque personality, he's got a Punisher-esque personality. Like, he's got a bunch of different personalities that fit the situation at hand.
Oscar can pull that off.
Yes. Another one on here that I'm looking forward to, and this is probably the last one I'm going to touch, is Armor Wars. Which is going to sound a little like weird at first. That it's going to be because it's War Machine. Like he's going to be the whole focus, and that's not really what I'm excited for. I'm excited for the fact that it'll probably set up Ironheart, but B, the fact that like the whole concept is Tony's armors and stuff is in the hands of all these bad people. Like all his weapons and tech have gone to the wrong hands. So the whole concept of it is going to be Rhodey going back and basically securing Tony's legacy again. That's cool. And that's why I like it. Because we're going to get... We're basically going to deal with Rhodey dealing through Iron Man's death the way he needs to deal with it. He's like, this is my last gift to my friend.
Right.
Good pick.
It's a good pick.
And there's rumors that Vision might actually show up in that one.
That makes sense. That'd be a natural place for him to pop in.
But I'm hoping we see some like old school Iron Man like villains, like Hurricane, and or is it Hurricane or whatever. There's a dude that makes twisters, and then like a different Whiplash.
Maybe that's where the mutants come in.
Yeah, maybe more comic accurate like Whiplash. I don't know. MODOK maybe. I don't know. There's so many like Stilt Man. Give us Stilt Man,
please.
Because come on, we need a laugh. But my point is like, yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, that's great. The easy pick, right? Like kind of the vanilla pick is Fantastic Four, and boy, have they not ever been done right.
No,
in the movies.
The first Fantastic Four was horrible. The casting was good.
Yeah.
Like the guy who played Reed Richards in that, fantastic choice.
Good choice.
Like I don't think you could have picked a better Reed Richards.
Yep.
And Sue Storm was obviously a great choice too, but.
Yeah. But for me, it's Blade.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I enjoyed the Blade movies with Wesley Snipes. And 3 movies. First one, boy, when did that come out? I just got to look this up.
2000s, early 2000s. So that might be rated R too, which would be fantastic.
Sure. Well, all 3 of them were, and as we were talking about pre-recording, Ryan Reynolds was in the 3rd Blade movie, and Ryan was cut up. Ryan looked unbelievably shredded. 1998, his first Blade movie. Blade 2 was 2002, and Blade the third, they called it Blade Trinity, was 2004. Okay. First Blade movie, good. A little bit on the creepy side. Vampires, right? Course, not unexpected. But Wesley Snipes, just kicking ass, taking names. Fantastic Blade. He was great. Wesley Snipes cannot be ignored. The gear, the variety of it that he employed, awesome. I mean, the sheer creativity in how he killed vampires, so much fun to watch. So that was great. I don't think they've cast the new Blade yet.
They have.
Have they?
Yes.
Who is it?
Mahershala Ali.
It is him?
Yes.
I had a friend of mine said that's who he wants it to be, but he didn't know for sure if that's who it was.
It is confirmed Mahershala Ali.
Fantastic.
He's the only one confirmed in that series.
That's
that movie so far.
That's all they need. That's
and it's
great.
funny because he was like a Luke Cage villain first. And he was great as him.
And then they just freaking killed him off.
Yep, don't even get started on that.
That was stupid. No. So that's my pick for the TBD. I love your synopsis for Armor Wars. That gets me excited for that. The rest of them, we'll kind of see what comes from that. Low-key excited for the Wakanda series. I think there's some good things that could come from that. But
that could just be really good for world building.
Absolutely. I think they did a great job with the Black Panther movie of building that world of Wakanda. Like, there was some genuine effort that went into developing the depth of the various layers of the Wakanda society. So they've got plenty to work with there, but it's Blade for me. The rest of those it's gonna be fun to see what comes. Secret Invasion, that's gonna be cool.
Yep.
But Blade's where it's at.
Blade is what's gonna be great about Blade 2 is it's gonna introduce another side of the Marvel universe.
Right.
You're getting the supernatural.
Right.
We don't really you could argue that for Doctor Strange, but I call that more of the mystic side.
Sure.
And you're gonna get the supernatural side with Blade. And I think that's what's going to be great. And
they could be making these movies and shows forever.
Yes.
I mean, there is so much they haven't tapped into yet. And
what's Echo?
Unreal.
Do you know what Echo is? Because I don't know what that is.
I think I do. So there's a comic called Secret War, not to be confused with the Secret Wars.
Okay.
Okay. Secret War. This happens pre-Civil War. Pre-Civil War. Okay.
Okay.
Nick Fury essentially tries to take out the new leader of Latveria. Dr. Doom's not in the picture at this time, okay? It backfires pretty hard to the point where Nick Fury chooses to self-impose himself in an exile. Mm-hmm. And Echo emerges as a character within this storyline who helps Nick Fury, just when it seems like all is lost, actually effectively take out the new leader of Latveria. So she's got the ability to cause tremors, so kind of low-key earthquakes, right? But she's got the ability to hone or target where she wants that tremor to take place, to where if she goes, I'm going to burst your heart in your chest, she could do that. So really unexpected. She just looks like your run-of-the-mill individual, but no, she's got some sick abilities. So pretty cool character in that comic storyline. That's a good old school one we can delve into at some point.
Interesting.
The art in that comic is phenomenal. I haven't seen anything by that artist before or since, but really cool story. I'm guessing that's that character. No idea what the show is going to do with that.
Yeah.
But there you go.
And now the only thing I hope now from any of this is we get a good Ghost Rider.
Hey, if Mephisto comes into play, Ghost Rider's got to be coming,
right?
Right? And then Nicolas Cage is in the MCU, because why not?
Mephisto and Blackheart.
Okay.
Which is like Mephisto's son.
Okay.
But he's badass too. So, legit.
Give us the Mephisto relatives.
Mephisto, Blackheart.
Bring him in.
I want Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
So.
That's great.
Well, I think with that, we should probably wrap her up.
Yeah, that's a bevy of content. I mean, how generous are we? We promise an hour, we give
an hour
more
20
than that.
Twice.
That's great. That's great.
So
good for us, really. Good for you.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
You bet. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Godspeed.